suppose the big lesson for me with this project, or the big learning for me was, how do you build in such remote places? How does that impact in your thinking about your expectations? Not only very, very, very remote, but a very, very beautiful site in the middle of the Baviaanskloof. So this Cedar Falls Farm was the base camp from which we operated. Cedar Falls Farm is an hour and a half by gravel road from Willowmore. And then from there, it would be another huge trek out to the three camps, as it were. You'd go back down this gravel road, and this gravel road would go on, and then it'll be a half an hour on a dirt track off a gravel road into the mountains here somewhere to camp 2, So incredibly remote, to get materials there, to get anything there, to go there, to do the design work that you need to do, almost impossible, but in this most spectacular environment to work in. So basically, each of these 3 camps have 3 little huts like this and a communal hut. So the idea is this was an upgrade from the previous camping arrangement, where people would hike from camp to camp and tent overnight. There was a long debate about whether that should even be upgraded. So the idea is that these shelters have got to be rudimentary and not take away too much from that camping outdoor experience. So it's the minimum possible shell, of course, which plays into appreciating rather this fantastic, incredible environment that people locate themselves in. There are communal facilities other than this communal hut in the background. There are communal swimming pools filled with natural water that comes down from the springs, emphasizing outdoor life, large decks, windows looking out front and back, taking in the spectacular environment. So there's huge decks with the basics to allow the users to absorb this incredible experience day and night. Fireplaces, it gets very, very, very cold, so warming up these huts is an important principle and important design consideration. And of course, the rudimentaries of cleaning up after a long hike, shower facilities, emphasizing the most basic, as close to camping as possible experience, outdoor showers, just the basics to be able to wash your face, brush your teeth, cook your food on a fire outside. This is the intention of these huts and of the design, and very accessible, of course, but the emphasis always on the spectacular environment that it finds itself in the Baviaanskloof, this World Heritage Site. All about the site, all about the location. Yeah.
So this is a unit we call the Lonely Leopard. It can sleep 4, only 16 square meters. So in this application here, it's on a hiking trail. Fantastic scenery all around us here. Lovely little deck, sliding door. And you can see that you can sleep 4 in a double bunk format. So all that you have inside here is a wash and basin, but fantastic framed views of this incredible environment throughout here. Nice, tall, open, lofty ceiling. Just enough to sleep. Nothing fancy. Just the basics. Just the basics. That's the Lonely Leopard. So the Baviaanskloof base camp emphasizes these lovely decks because we have a climate where in South Africa many times of the year you can spend most of your time outdoors if you want to. But also here in the Baviaanskloof it gets quite extreme. It gets quite cold in the summer months. So you can see here all the equipment ready for the hikers to come. Nice little wood burning stove, wood ready to go. framed views all the way around. Incredibly beautiful outside, but with a quite austere interior. But big enough to comfortably suit 12 people around a table having a good time, but with nothing fancy.
Of course, a huge part of a challenge of building in a World Heritage Site like the Baviaanskloof is that you're working subject to very strict conditions imposed by a record of decision that was obtained in terms of an environmental impact process. So the amount of time that can be spent on site is, of course, limited. So everything's got to be designed right down to the last millimeter in such a way as that pieces can be assembled on site in the shortest possible duration. The idea being with the design that each piece could have been and should have been cut to size off-site, brought in with small vehicles, light on the ground, and then assembled on site. So the major challenge, get in and get out very quickly. No cement mixing facilities on site, no long durations of noisy equipment, noisy staff. All of that work was to be done off-site. A bit frustrating because the actual contractors on site weren't able to live up to that vision as they would have been if they had known a little bit more about what they were doing. But the intention of the design certainly was that as little time on site as possible, and it was achieved to some degree, not to the greatest degree that we would have liked, but everything designed in such a way as to have a limited assembly time on site without disrupting the very sensitive natural environment that is around there.